Before you shoot your computer, give Benjamin Rockwell a call. Helping you gain the upper hand with your computer, here is Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. The phone number, 888-NERD-888. That's 888-6373-888. There is so much I could say about being a nerd. That's why we've got the Computer Talk Radio Nerdcast. As a matter of fact, that should be, we hope, returning now. Check the Computer Talk Radio Nerdcast. You can go to computertalkradio.com. We're going to be talking, or we did talk to Alec Peters earlier this week, and we're in the post-production phase right now as I'm recording this. But to look it up, we do a number of different things that are kind of nerdy. It gets more into, in this case, science fiction, Star Trek. We're also going to be talking about Star Trek very soon in regards to Discovery on the Nerdcast. So by all means, check it out. We've kind of returned to doing that. We'll talk about other computer stuff later on this hour. But first, we always touch on the news. And, oh, hey, real quick, before I even dive into that, coming up next, think about it right now. How old do you think Computer Talk Radio is? And what kind of background do I have? Yeah, me, Benjamin Rockwell. I mean, we know I'm a nerd, but let's really dive into this. Let's talk about that. It's the beginning, sort of the beginning of the year. We're in January, and we've been going along, and we're actually we just had our anniversary this past week. So there we go. News. I want you to think about something. You're sitting and you're going, Alexa, can you get some water from the kitchen? And all of a sudden, Amazon's Alexa responds. So if you've got a daughter by the name of Alexa, there could be an issue. My son's middle name is Alec. Yeah, short for Alexander. Yes, and there's a number of different versions out there that are being picked up by what really was one of the big hits of CES. I mean, okay, for me, I'm not really thrilled by anything that's voice activated. I can talk to my phone. I can, talk to a number of different things. It's no longer intriguing for me, but the idea of running into problems as you're talking to somebody else who's alive, yeah, there's an interesting issue there. 39th most popular girl's name in 2006 was, Alexa. Wow. So there's a number of reasons why we're going to have to kind of adjust to things, and computers are going to have to get better. But perhaps you might like the idea of following in the footsteps from Star Trek 4. Yes, that's the fourth movie, not the old series, basically where they went back in time and they brought whales back from the past. Maybe that's spoiler. I should say spoiler alert. It's kind of late now. Sorry, but in the movie, James Doohan, who plays Scotty, he is handed a mouse after he talks to the computer. He says, "Computer," and then he tries to talk into the mouse, and then the guy tells him to use the keyboard. Anyways, the big issue here is that now you can program Alexa to respond to a couple of different names, computer being one of them. And Trekkies are actually really happy about that. That's actually kind of a fun little thing there. And one more thing actually about Alexa. Apparently there have been some kind of big problems. Some kids have been ordering stuff through Alexa just because they can talk to Alexa and say, "Hey, I want the dollhouse." So it goes, "This dollhouse?" And they've had a few kids doing that. Here's another one for you too. There apparently has been some television. People are watching television. The television plays something about Alexa, and Alexa orders things from that. So there's a lot going on with Alexa. Google has banned. We moved from Amazon to Google. They've banned 200 publishers since they started this new policy against fake news. Yeah, there isn't a list out right now as far as who these publishers are that I've been able to find, but it concerns me. I mean, yes, we understand that there is this concept of fake news out there, and there's a lot of people who are continuing on with this. What is real news? What is alternative news? What is fake news? And all of this. And I'm concerned that we start going down roads where we have people who are making decisions for us, and they're actually blocking this. They're going through and they're really preventing people from making their own decisions. I think we're all old enough, or we're grown up enough to make various decisions in our lives. And yet, some of these decisions might include something like our hotel thermostats. And something else came out recently. Apparently, the hotel thermostats these days, well, they're deciding if you're setting the room too hot or too cold, they'll readjust it for you in the middle of the night when you're not paying attention. You know, I understand this when you're out of the hotel room, you're off out and about throughout the day. Yeah, reset it. If there's nobody in the room, if you get some kind of sensors, ooh, that's kind of creepy. Sensors in the room to tell if we're in the room. Well, apparently that's what they're doing. But what they do is they're going through and they're trying to save money. But doing it in the middle of the night, I'm not really all that keen on that concept. There are apparently workarounds. You can override the thermostat, and that's something that's available. If you run into this kind of problem, what I want you to do is dial the front desk and say, hey, it says it's set to 72, but I'm baking. Or maybe it's set to 68 and I am freezing. Whatever it is. Again, just pick up the phone, dial the front desk. They will help you. At least that's what the hotels are telling us. We'll find out. So there has been a massive amount of fake accounts found on Twitter. Well, maybe not so much fake. Maybe they're just lying dormant. They're not doing anything. And there's a lot of concern that's going on out there. People are wondering exactly what the numbers are. We've been dealing with this for a while. We talk about concepts like how many fake followers are there of Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. That was one of the big topics that we had last year. How many fake followers of these various major celebrities, although I think we just named two of them. But we see this kind of concept all the way along, and it's throwing the numbers off. It's raising a concern for a lot of people. I mean, I'm not fully concerned about it at this moment because we don't have a whole lot of followers there at our Twitter account, which is at 888-NERD888. Hey, that sounds like the phone number, doesn't it? Yeah, well, what can I say? So we'll keep an eye on this. This seems to be a story that's building. This other one here that I want to mention is also building. Now, I want you to think about this. So you go on out and you get a drone. Well, there are certain limitations on drones, and we start looking at concepts like, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. They're in charge of anything that kind of flies above a certain height. They're saying, well, you have to have certain licensing to go above 400 feet. Well, okay, that kind of makes sense. But now we have cities and we have counties and we have various states trying to put in their own little two bits about things like, okay, there's this doctor in Newton, Massachusetts, and he's actually suing Newton because they made a new ordinance that says you can't have drone flights below 400 feet. So essentially, if it's over any private property at or below 400 feet without the property owner's permission. Additionally, the law states that you have to register your drones with the city and that the drones can't capture video, conduct surveillance, any still imagery, any audio recordings, or anything anywhere that people on the ground would have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Except it gets a little bit too wild there because, well, you're blocking all kinds of things. So what we get is a patchwork, an entire huge little bits and pieces where wherever you're at, people have their own ideas of what the laws should read. And if every city does their own little different interpretation, what might be legal on one side of the street might not be legal on the other side of the street. And that's where all of our governments, all of the local governments, the state governments, the city governments, the counties, all of these guys need to really sit down and cooperate together. Coming up next, let's talk about, I don't know. Okay, we're going to talk about me here on Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com.
This is Benjamin Rockwell, and you're listening to Computer Talk Radio. One of the things that I had forgotten about, that I had not mentioned last weekend, was that this show is now 8 years old. Yes, that was our anniversary there. The 20th actually is when we started 8 years ago, and this is one of those things where I sit here and I talk to you about computers and technology every week. And I realized that I started off the year and I had not provided sort of that background, that history of where I've been, what I've done, and a little bit more about who just how I got here. Well, so first off, I've been married for 27 years to my wife, Julie, who has, actually, she plays this down, but she has far better computing skills than the average person. She is on top of her game with them. And, there are times, okay, I will admit that if you're surrounded by someone who is, well, on the radio, but also an IT manager and a number of other things, I think there's some level that she thinks that she's subpar. I try to build her up. I try so hard, but she's coming along. She's actually hacked into some programs and done a number of different things that were never meant to be done by the programmers. But she knows what this is all about. She's not. I guess she actually is a digital native. If she's not, she's pretty close to being a digital native. When I met her, she had a Commodore 128, if I recall correctly. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking, that was when she was young, and that was when, I had already been familiar with not only the 128, but the 64 and the VIC-20, but, that's just me. My son is now 24 years old. He's still obsessed with video games and a variety of other fascinations with technology, and he uses it daily, of course, but, he's doing really well with that. So there's my family. I do have a daughter-in-law and a grandson now, and that's awesome. And they're also technologically savvy. But we talk to so many people who are not. Let's give you sort of a brief overlook as far as my ancient computer history. And when I say ancient, of course, this is stuff that I started off with when I was very young. In the 1980s, for instance, I started with a VIC-20. I learned about computers and programming on the VIC-20, and then moved on to the Apple IIc, the Apple IIe, the Apple II clone computers. Yeah, there were clones of Apples in those days. I also worked with the Commodore PET, some TRS-80s, trash 80s, and I took a variety of courses over the years. I owned over the course of those many years Tandley, let's see here, Model 1, Model 4, a colored computer, a Model 102. I've got the Model 102 actually in my studio. It's within almost an arm's reach. It's just a little bit further there. I had a PC-1, a PC-2, and a PC-4. Those are not personal computers. Those are pocket computers. And let's see here. I mentioned the Apple II clones. I had two Apple clones, a company named Franklin. You're familiar with them. They make the little pocket thesauruses and stuff like that. I have a couple of Osborne portables sitting in my garage. So you've got an idea. I've been around the whole technology block for a while. In 1989, I started a bulletin board system, and I served my local community with this for about 7 or 8 years with offbeat information. We had some forums. Basically, you talked on the various boards and about various topics whatsoever. In 1991, I actually began my professional IT career. I had sold a number of computers before then. The Radio Shack that we were in a large district, but the Radio Shack that we were at, we sold more than everybody else except for our local computer center, which was actually only about 15 minutes away from us. When you consider that the district had Radio Shacks as far away as 4 hours. Yeah, I'm doing that from memory. I think it was about 4 hours, maybe 3 hours away. Just a long distance away for Radio Shacks, for a district at least. But okay, so in 91, I was a field service technician. In 1992, at the very end of 92, I became an IT manager for a furniture manufacturer. And I went through, and in 93, I started moving in the direction of building my own home network. This is in 93. When most people only had one computer, I connected 3 of them together. That was using something called ArcSoft and Lantastic and Artisoft, I think is what it was. ArcNet. There we go. ArcNet was the network card that we used in those days. We're talking very slow. Let's see, what was that? That was like 2 megabit. I'm doing this from memory. Really slow. And in 93, I also gained my first client as a computer consultant to small businesses. In 95, I developed my first website. I hand-coded that in HTML. I was one of Earthlink's earliest subscribers back then. In 1997, moved along, I became an IT director for a commercial real estate firm. And then in 98, I moved on to a major oil corporation. And there, I worked with them to enhance all kinds of different technical support services. I was part help desk, part network technician, part jack of all trades. There's so many different things you can do in technology, and that was what I did there. So Y2K, I sat at home. You may have heard of Y2K. That was when everything was it was all doomed. Everything was going to fall apart. I sat at home laughing hysterically as absolutely nothing happened. It was in the lead up, it was something that we were all concerned about. Even then, there were people who were very concerned. I was on call that weekend just in case. We had everybody in information technology had something, some role, some service that they were providing that they were on call. We moved forward to 2004. I moved into a different company. I specialized in change management. which is basically making sure that people are shutting down computers at the proper time, not like in the middle of the day or something like that. And then I continued my consulting, and then in 2005, I actually went back to being an IT manager for one of my contracts, one of the people I had been consulting with for years. So you may wonder, what are the different things I know? What are my specialties? Kind of everything. I have been a desktop tech since most of the computers out there were DOS. Windows 286 was something that was around at that point. Windows 3.0, I think, had just come out during the time I was that field tech. And I've done a lot of desktop tech over the years. Repair on printers. I've been a network technician and engineer over the years, including stuff like installing servers and all of that. Help desk management. So answering your phones, answering your computer questions isn't really new to me. I've walked some of the most basic people through some of the most complex tasks. I remember setting up somebody. We had a receptionist. I helped her set up their local server that we shipped off to her off in Illinois, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And very successful with that. Server administrator and engineer, change management, database development, a lot of different things. So when you hear me talking about all of these things, I have been hands-on with technology throughout all of these years. And I know what I'm talking about, and I can help you with any of your problems. That's why I give out the phone number of 888-NERD 888. Yeah, because I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I admit it. That's fine. We'll be back with more Computer Talk Radio in just a moment. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get computer hardware. It's not easy, as there are so many stores that have gone out of business, so many shady characters online, or they're simply not capable of handling diverse needs. In 1979, two guys got together and built a computer company that could serve your nerdy needs. Micro Center. The wide range of products at Micro Center includes even the latest of Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and other hobbyist-level computers. They also have drones. They've got them in all price categories, from toys to, oh boy. Look, you're looking for console gaming, home automation. Micro Center's got that. Hardware, software, accessories, or, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. From Apple to Zyxel, Micro Center has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. So here at Computer Talk Radio, I follow a lot of the different things that are going on in just the technology world. That's part of my job, is to bring you up to date on a number of different things. Unfortunately, it seems that, we would think, we would hope that all of the drama that has been joining us over the course of the last, I don't know, about a year now, more than a year, in regards to, okay, we had, that little minor thing, that little, what was that? It was called an election? Yeah, whatever. But we move on from that, and I would hope that there would be more people that would understand that it's not something that you should be creating fights with your personal friends over. This is one of those things which, if it's friends, it's family, unfriending them and being mean about unfriending them, it has gotten to a very unacceptable level on Facebook. I have seen a number of people get absolutely vicious on this entire topic. And here, I'm going to read just a recent message that was posted the day after the inauguration. I have decided that I won't be on Facebook. This is ridiculous that it has become such a platform for whiners. I have my Facebook for sharing special moments with family and friends, not all of this negative bickering. If you need me or want me to look at something, text it to me. And, and some of the follow-ups on this message, I'm right there with you, and I've pretty much wiped it all from my feed, but missed the friendly personal updates. Going to Instagram mostly now. And a number of other people agreed, or I so agree, and I understand, but I'll miss your posts. And this is a recurring theme. I would almost venture to say that the last couple of months on Facebook, I will tell you that I have not been drawn to social media. Who cares? Whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's whatever it is that's out there that you might think, oh, yeah, I know, MySpace is gone. But you've got the idea there. I've abandoned a lot of it because I just do not want to see some of that negativity that's out there. I don't want to experience it. And we, as a culture, we have to decide what is appropriate and what is inappropriate for us to be saying. It seems like the anonymity that is available to you and I on things like Facebook, on all of these different social media outlets, that anonymity allows us to get away with saying so much more. And it's not even anonymity, it's just a matter of, I have seen so many things that, I know that you over there, and I'm just pointing at a random person, I know that you over there, I know you well enough, we're personal friends. And I know that there are some things that you are saying right now that you would never say in person. This is not actually any specific person, really. But you know what I'm talking about. You have seen this, you, my listener, you, my friends out there. We have all seen this. Now, I don't care. I don't care what end of the political spectrum you're on. The idea that I must adopt your way of thinking, otherwise I just need to fall off the earth and just perish. Wow, I've seen this kind of reference, although it hasn't been quite so mild. I have seen people develop and start vicious fights in various venues, the forums, the different. I'm on tech support forum. I am on this tech support forum, and I look at the stuff that's going on that tech support forum, and it has become all too heavily politicized, and I don't want to hear about it. If I want to go into the political forums and I want to go follow whatever is going on, I've got places I can go for that. I can check it out online. I can go to whatever it is.com. I don't care. But we need to start accepting what has happened. And this is on both sides. Whether we're talking about accepting that, yes, a bunch of people elected a president. They followed a certain set of rules. Yeah, I know. It wasn't a majority of people. But then again, that's the rules of the Electoral College. That's what we've had to protect little small states like Rhode Island from being run roughshod over by. Oh, now here I am. I'm getting into the political thing versus. But look, let's go into the other side. I understand that there are people out there that feel disenfranchised or whatever. And we've seen this before on other elections. But we haven't really gotten to the point where we're calling our friends names and stuff like that. And for that, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how we can solve this other than by my making an impassioned plea. That same plea that we have heard so many times before. We've heard it sometimes in seriousness, and sometimes it's been from the wrong people. And it's been made fun of and stuff like this, but it is one of those core concepts of all of our lives. It's that core concept that we really should have learned in kindergarten. It's plain, it's simple, it's be nice to one another, or has been made famous, can't we all just get along? And I don't know that we can, but we should be trying a lot harder. We need to try harder. That is what makes us civilized, that getting along and cooperating and working through these issues together, whether we're, whoever it is, whatever it is we're dealing with, that is what separates us from, the apes, from sheer just animals, sheer selfish nature. Yeah, we all have to be better. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, this is Benjamin Rockwell. Most of us use digital cameras nowadays, but what do we do with those old pictures and slides in the back of the closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. If you have boxes of old slides, then you know they fade more and more each year. Let Legacy Digital scan them for you and stop the aging process dead in its tracks. You'll get beautiful 10-megapixel digital files, color-corrected and ready for printing. All this is done faster and cheaper than buying a film scanner and doing it yourself. Your files are then burned onto gold archival DVD discs where they will last for generations. Call right now, mention my name, Benjamin Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. And tell them Benjamin sent you. Your memories are priceless, so call 866-2-LEGACY now.
Keith M. Sedor is a Mac. Benjamin Rockwell is a PC. I think a fanboy fight is about to start.
Keith M. Sedor joins me now here on Computer Talk Radio. And you know what, Keith? I will tell you, one of the things that upsets me the most is when I hear people are being taken advantage of. And I'm just going to go straight into that. I'm not even going to talk about the website, phone number, any of that, because we have to get to your experience right now.
Benjamin, I am on fire. I am infuriated.
Livid. Yes. There's many words we can throw in there. I heard this, and yeah,
there is no excuse for the state of internet connectivity today. I mean, the reality of it is that most people, most households have a nice, solid internet connection, and they're able to download. Everybody can be on at the same time, and they pay a reasonable price for it. It's usually part of a package where it's bundled with other services like TV and telephone.
So let me ask you real quick. So as an idea for people, so they understand, what speed do you get? I get 100 megabit down, 10 megabit up.
I get 100 down, 25 up.
Nice. Okay. All right. So we're talking about a nice, serious, healthy number. Yes.
That having been said, that was the maximum offered by my cable company here on the East Coast when I took that package.
Sure.
They now offer speeds up to 300 megabits per second.
Nice.
We're now actually starting to get on par with our Asian counterparts. You go to places like Japan and South Korea, and they've had internet speeds far faster than we've had for quite some time. We're actually second-class citizens when it comes to net connectivity speeds.
Sure.
But there are people that are going grossly underserved in the United States that are paying top dollar for internet connectivity. I'm talking about people who, in this day and age, are still on a DSL line, Benjamin. I mean, I'm talking 20 years after DSL was a primetime internet connectivity method. You know, it's like, oh, everybody's on dial-up in the mid to late 90s. And then DSL comes along, and we're going to use the unused bandwidth of your voice telephone line and give you speeds that are 10 times faster. Well, 10 times faster than dial-up puts you somewhere between the range of 1 to 3 megabits per second, depending upon how far you are from the phone company head office in your town. And the further you are, the slower you're going to be, and the closer you are, the better your speeds are going to be. But here we are 20 years out from that, and DSL, you would expect, would be a completely obsolete technology.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Here's the problem. Verizon offers Fios, which is a fiber optic service across the land, and then the last mile, they go fiber optic back to copper. And I have so many clients when I ask them, because when I get a new client as an Apple consultant, I need to know what type of internet connectivity we're going to have when I go to do a job for them, because there will be software downloads while I'm on site.
Yeah.
And so I need to factor that into my schedule. When they tell me, oh, I have Verizon. Oh, you have Fios? No, I don't have Fios because they don't offer Fios in our town, but I know I have Verizon. I automatically know they're still on a DSL line.
Yeah.
What's even worse, Benjamin, is that I have discovered in many retirement communities, because I serve a lot of seniors as an Apple consultant. And folks, if you have family members that live in a retirement community anywhere in this country, one of the things I've discovered very recently is that if a major cable company serves the town that retirement community is in, the retirement community itself is treated like its own little hamlet, like a community within a community, and they will be served under contract by a third-party communications provider. I just went to a client that is in one of the largest senior communities, one of the oldest senior communities in New Jersey, and they have a cable. You mean you plug in a coax cable, it's on the same service that's providing their television service. Benjamin, would you like to guess what speeds they're getting over coaxial cable in 2017?
So, I mean, you and I both know they should be getting 100 by 10, maybe maybe 50 by 5, maybe even
you and I are computer
20
nerds. You and I are computer nerds.
Yeah, okay.
So you and I would have the expectation of, in our homes, we're going to have one of the fastest speeds available.
Sure.
The median speed these days should be somewhere around 50. And at the very
easily
entry level, you should have no slower than a 25 megabit line coming into your home. Benjamin, I discovered that so many of these seniors have a 1 to 3 megabit line. They have DSL speeds over coax, and they are being charged rates that are akin to what you and I are paying for 50 to 100 megabit speeds.
That's unacceptable. This is one of those things that we really... Look, everybody out there, you need to find out what the going speed is in your area. I know some of the folks that listen, you're on some remote areas, that's fine. Find out.
Not even just the going speed, the going rate. What does it cost to get that
speed? Right, exactly. You've got to match those up and find out and really compare it up. This is one of those things where it takes you going through and beating them up and saying, what gives? This is Benjamin Rockwell.
And I'm Keith M. Sedor.
You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment.
You may submit your questions online using the contact form at the Computer Talk Radio website, computertalkradio.com.
Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and just a normal person. Recently, though, it was clear to me that it was time to upgrade, but I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After searching around for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their willingness to do things the right way.
The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when a 32-ounce soda would do. These guys know WordPress, Joomla, and regular standard websites. These guys at SiteGround are awesome. SiteGround.com. Site, S-I-T-E, ground.com. There has to be something out there that says your software provider's online support pages will give you absolutely everything you need to troubleshoot every possible problem except the one you're dealing with. I have come across this more times in the last week than I could ever have imagined, and this is an ongoing thing. And look, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy contacting, not really enjoy contacting tech support, but I do like pointing out, hey, I looked online and I searched for this issue under this, and this. Because it does point out whether or not they have their all of their stuff up online. There's this one company I deal with. They deal with our ERP software, Enterprise Resource Planning. There's also MRP, which is Manufacturer Resource Planning, or sometimes Management Resource Planning. It's all kind of the same thing. It's how does our part that we're making get from point A to point Z in the shop? So it goes through all of these different phases, all of these different things throughout the shop. And we run into countless issues here and there. It seems to me, actually, the users I've got at the office, they just know how to break the system. That's what it really boils down to. There's that old adage, you can't make anything foolproof because fools are so ingenious. I forget who said that. It's like Mark Twain or someone like that. Anyways, look, we are all going to encounter problems. I will tell you, if you have a software problem, the first place I'm going to tell you to go, the very first place, if it's something obscure, if it's something where you're not going to call me, you just want to do this on your own, that's fine. The first place you're going to go is online. We should always be doing that. Why? Because, well, first off, who wants to wait on hold for half an hour? Even if I'm waiting on hold, I've given up. I've been going through it, and I can't find this issue anywhere online. What am I doing? Yes, I'm listening to the elevator music, groan, and I'm searching online for the response, for a potential fix. I will tell you that elevator music does seem to invigorate my brain, just because I don't want to listen to another second of that infernal whatever song that they're playing. What's worse is, please hold while we play this annoying music and we prepare to answer your call. And then they play the music for 30 seconds and then they say, please hold. Well, you get the idea. It's annoying, but I use that as incentive. I don't want to hear this for the next half hour, so I'm going to search more and more and more online to find this answer, to solve my problem. Maybe something similar will actually fix it. You never know. This is Benjamin Rockwell. Of course, you're listening to Computer Talk Radio on WSHO Sunshine 800. We'll catch you next week. Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with the radiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. TheRadioFactory.com.
Can't find out what to buy at the computer store? Benjamin Rockwell's got the answer. And now, with a quest of enriching your experience with computers, here's Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888. That's 888-6373-888. I'm a computer nerd. I deal with technology for a living. I deal with it on a daily basis. I deal with all kinds of different discussions in regards to these simple things that we have made. Yes, I hear about these different things that are made items from various people throughout my life. Oh, this particular technology is evil. Yeah? Really? It's evil. This technology is evil. I'm going to give you an example. Guns are evil. We've heard this before. People say this all the time. Do I believe that's true? No. I don't believe that any technology is evil in itself. See, what happens is we tend to move on past this concept that any form of technology is a tool. Anything we have is a tool. The things that can be evil are the people and how we utilize these things. Let's delve into this deeper. There's a guy by the name of Gutenberg. He was a few years back. He used technology to create the movable type printing press. And the first thing he did was he printed the Bible. A lot of copies of the Bible. Now, there's some dispute as to if he was the first person to develop movable type printing presses, but he was a contemporary, and we can discuss that argument later. The issue here is not Gutenberg. It's not the fact that he developed the printing press. It's a matter of he utilized that movable type printing press to print what is generally recognized by most people as the good book or a good book. There are many other men who have used that same movable type printing technology for other books that I will say are of lesser character. I mean, we're not going to blame the laser printer that's sitting here next to me if I print out the Bible or I print out, I don't know, some book of ill repute. I have talked about other technologies in the past, implantable chips, and I've mentioned that I would never voluntarily allow a chip to be implanted in my body for identification purposes. There are people out there that have done that. The technology is not the evil part in this place. It is the application of that technology. A car is not evil, even when someone uses that car and people get injured in an accident, or maybe even not an accident. Maybe it's intentional. The internet is not evil, even when it grants access to knowledge or information that is inappropriate or can be used for the purpose of evil. I mean, yes, if we're talking about various news items about different things like watches that are GPS enabled or shoes or backpacks or whatever, sure, finding lost Alzheimer's patients is great. Oh, we can find our child. And utilizing this technology for this concept, that's great. It's grand. But then what happens if all shoes have these implants, or everybody's required to wear a watch that has GPS on it, or, well, let's move to something a little bit more likely. The idea that our cars are all going to be mounted with GPS. Yes, okay, great. If all cars have GPS, then less people are going to get lost. But then, could also our government track our every move? Think about this. Your taxes, we could easily do this. Your taxes will be dinged for every mile that you drive. All in the name of the environment. It's all in the name of, just keeping a greener earth. Maybe you'd support that. Maybe that's a concept that people who drive a little, they get taxed a little. People who drive a lot, they get taxed a lot. And of course, the concept is, we'll throw out all of the gas taxes. In reality, they won't throw out the gas taxes. You're going to pay your gas taxes, but then you're going to pay an additional tax on top of how much you drive. Why? Because they can do that. Why not? Yeah, exactly. They find other ways to add on additional taxes to us. There's the famous list of all of these things that we are taxed on for this, that, and the other thing, and the various other taxes that they want to add on to us for this, that, or the other thing. Even though sometimes, in this case, like, for instance, it would be doubling up. But anyways, back to the basic concept. Would you also support, if you support this so far, would you support restrictions where your car prohibits you from driving to places that others don't want you to go? Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have people driving onto military bases unless they're authorized. But maybe the government says, yeah, you shouldn't drive. I don't know. We don't want you driving outside of your state. Boom. All of a sudden, you can't. You go to the state line, and all of a sudden, you can't drive any further. What? Can the government decide that? No, but they would never do that. Well, maybe they would. Would you maybe support law enforcement deciding you need to be questioned for some reason, and then you get pulled over immediately, even if you haven't broken a law? We just need to question you. Well, okay. Yeah, it's easy for me to sit here and say, anybody should be able to be questioned at a moment's notice at a whim of the government because, I've never been questioned. I've never been drawn into the police department and said, they said, where were you on the night of this, that, or the other thing? I've never had that happen, so what would I have against it? Look, you get the idea of where we're going with this, though. This could be bad. Look, don't mistake anything that I say here. Don't figure that I'm going to support any of this. See, technology can be used for good, but I want you to remember that it is a tool in our belt for communications, for computations, for coping with the world around us. It's kind of like we're all a bunch of Batman. Let's think of the Batman, the comic book guy. Yeah, okay. We must monitor the usage of all of the technologies. This is us, ourselves, auditing how these items interact with our lives, both through our own personal guidance, questioning others, questioning the reason for and against using technologies, and through the other people around us that can provide us guidance who observe our usage of technology. I say this time and time again. I personally seek time away from the computer on a regular basis. Not enough, unfortunately, but I do seek to remove myself from the electronic binds that bind me to this, that, or the other thing. I want to encourage you to understand the benefits and liabilities of technology in your life. I do this on a regular basis. Technology is neither good nor bad, immoral or moral, but it can be used for either. File sharing can be good or it can be bad. Yes, there are some bands out there. They believe in sharing their music with everyone, and they encourage this. There are others that wish to crush anyone who thinks about sharing music. I believe that if you want to share your music with everyone, that's fine. If you don't want your intellectual property shared with people freely, you want to gain profit off of that, there's nothing that's wrong with that. Governments, spouses, employers, and more may use technology for us, or they may use it against us. There are also choices that we may make throughout our lives in regards to technology that can hinder us or empower us. Our smartphones. Yeah, our smartphones are awesome. They give us unfettered internet access. They give us the email. They give us apps. They give us all kinds of different things. That's empowering us. But that also means we're tracked left and right. Some of the stuff we put out there is, we put it out on Facebook. It's made public to everybody who might want to or not even want to see about us. Each of us, you and I, must move to make intelligent and informed decisions about each of the aspects that technology leads in our lives, how it impacts us, and the world around us. That is probably one of the most responsible things that we have laid out before us in the coming years. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio. So I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com.
Website computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. That's where you can reach myself, Benjamin Rockwell, in regards to any of your computer needs. One of the things that I am regularly contacted about is how do I make my computer run just a little bit better? What are the things that will help me just get an extra year out of this technology? And look, I understand during the recession, everybody was money conscious, and even today people are still retaining some of that frugality that makes them, I guess you wind up being a little bit more successful if you can save up just a few more bucks. Now, I'm going to give you some tips for extending the life of your current computer, and this really, for the most part, applies to any computer, but I kind of focus in on laptops, because usually the laptops are the area where people want to get just a little bit more time out of them. And desktops, typically, I don't know why, but I get more questions in regards to, oh man, I want my laptop to last a little bit longer. And that's because laptops are not really designed. Your base price laptop, this is that low end one. This is that minimal laptop, is not designed to last more than about 3 years. That's kind of, you might get 4 years out of it. You might get 5 years out of it. One of the reasons why the Apple laptops are priced up a little bit higher is because they don't have a minimum category. They have, basically, I allow a minimum category. I allow basically a number of different levels of laptops, and they skip by the first level, that entry price, that budget price, and they move past even sort of that low-end laptop. They go right to that middle-end laptop. So that's why the pricing there is kind of shifted, and they will last out a little bit longer as far as the Mac laptops go. The Apple laptops. In the Windows world, we wind up with people are selling computers, brand new laptop for $250. Well, yeah, it's a $250 laptop, though. It will get you by for the basics. Surfing the internet, doing some light YouTube kind of stuff, some email, writing letters, but it's not going to get you into a lot of the heavier graphic items, the heavier duty items out there. So what are we going to do? How do we extend the life of your laptop? You bought it for $300, $400 a matter of 3 years ago, but you want one more year out of it. First, I think usually the biggest one is memory. If you are running a 64-bit version of Windows, how do we tell? What we do is we press and hold down the Windows key, then we hit the pause break key. And that's going to pop open a window that's going to tell us what version of the operating system you have. It's going to tell you a number of other things. It's going to tell you how much RAM you've got and stuff like that. So I'm seeing here, I just did this on the system right here at the studio, 12 gigabytes of RAM. It's a 64-bit operating system on an x64-based processor, Windows 10. This is a Core i7-6700. So this is actually kind of a recent system right now. That's a 6th generation CPU from Intel. Perfectly fine. It's going to, this thing just screams. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, 12 gigabytes, that's plenty of RAM. If you're running an earlier version of Windows, if you see it in 32-bit operating system, this is about the time when I'm telling you, get rid of it. But if it's running 64-bit, you get to add in more memory. 32-bit, you can only upgrade that system. Yeah, guess what? 32 bits will only take 4 gigabytes of RAM. 4 gigabytes. Going above that, the 64-bit, there are a number of different maximums. I'm going to refer you to a website. And this website just has a wonderful tool. It automatically searches and it looks up everything, and it's basically an online scanner. It's crucial.com. CRUCIAL.com. Now, I'm telling you up front, they sell memory. I actually will buy memory from a couple of different locations. You don't have to use Crucial. If you have a make and a model, you can look it up on other ones. Crucial just happens to have that nice little online scanner. So whether it's Crucial or Kingston or whoever else, but I want you to stick with name brands. That's the one thing that I do request of you. If you're concerned about a brand, you've got XYZ brand, you want to drop me a line at Computer Talk Radio, great, that's fine. ComputerTalkRadio.com. Now, the memory upgrade is usually very simple. This is something that can be done by most anyone. Most of the companies these days are providing instructions on the whole task. You do want to make sure you ground yourself out before you do it. You handle the memory only by the green parts, not by the metal parts, and you're going to be absolutely fine. This is one of those things that it's tricky on some laptops, but most laptops are doing okay. Most desktops are doing okay. They will guide you along. If you go to Kingston.com or Crucial.com, they both have very good warranties, very good support systems, and they have great return policies. A matter of, look, if it doesn't work out for you, we're going to help you. We're going to guide you along. The other big, huge monster upgrade out there, the other big item is a new hard drive. And this is something that can be done, and you're going to get more life of it out of that system, but you have to weigh the overall expense here. The concept of that memory upgrade. These days, depending on how much memory you're putting in, that might be a matter of just spending another $50, $60, maybe $100 into that system. The internal hard drive, however, is one of those things which can get up a little bit closer to that $100 point. That's kind of where you want to be. But you also have to include in one of these hard drive upgrade kits. And these are available from a number of different places. And this is upgrading the internal hard drive. I'm going to also mention in a moment external hard drives, but this is internal. You can do this a number of different ways, but really what you want is an upgrade kit from someplace like Apricorn, APRICORN, or CMS Products, or wherever. And what this is they're allowing you to take your old hard drive out. You put in the new hard drive, or vice versa. Basically, you can you put your drive in one in the kit, and one drive is in the system, and they'll move the data over to that new hard drive. And this is great. This is a wonderful option that's out there. So some companies actually provide a hard drive and the kit together. Some of the stores out there have these available. You want one that does it really just easily. They'll include the software. They'll include all of the different things. And really the big issue here is this is something you can do on your own almost all the time. There are, for both the memory upgrade and the hard drive upgrade, there are some Macs out there that get a little bit difficult. There are a couple of laptops out there that are from other companies that are also a little bit difficult. But the neat thing about this hard drive upgrade kit that I was discussing is that you can then use your old hard drive as an external hard drive. Now, we get into that other thing. You can use an external hard drive. There's a number of out there. Western Digital makes a number of nice portable ones. So does Seagate. So does Toshiba. Look, you can then use that external hard drive for storing all of your important data, your music, your videos, your documents. And then you just leave your C drive for your programs and the most current and most important information. And then also the idea of thumb drives. That's something too that you can work with. Either way, these are just a couple of items to get more life out of your current computer. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get the things that are on my nerd wish list. It's not easy. There are so many stores that have gone out of business. There are so many shady characters online, or so many of them are just simply not capable of handling my needs in a one-stop shop. In 1979, two guys got together and built the brick-and-mortar company that could serve your tech needs. Of course, today, they've got an online presence, and it's called Micro Center. They've got tablets, iPad, yes, but also Android and Windows and all the accessories, too. They've got laptops, desktops, all-in-ones, Windows or Apple, of course, all covered here. Motherboards and processors, and okay, all right, who are we kidding? It's really everything to build your own PC. Keyboards, mice, surge protectors, software, tools, and thumb drives. Enough. Look, from Apple to Zyxel, Micro Center has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888. That's 888-6373-888. Marty Winston joins me now, and he is, of course, the proprietor. I call you the proprietor every once in a while of the 40-Year House. The owner, the inventor, the author of the house. Wow, yeah. And Marty has, we've had some fun conversations in regards to hearing and all of that. Marty's hearing is so good. His wife belittles him over it. She calls it supersonic hearing. And Marty, what did you say? It's faster than the sound of light?
Yes. She thinks it means something. That's fine.
It's faster than the sound of light. Okay, so the speed of sound and the speed of light are actually really important. And I mean, the house isn't going to go the speed of light or even the speed of sound. Warp speed, Captain. But there is something called time of flight, and we've touched on this a little bit in the past. I wanted to dig deeper into this. What exactly is the time of flight concept?
If you think about radar, or if you think about sonar in a submarine,
right?
The idea is the time it takes for sound to echo back to you. That's the time in which that sound wave is in the air. That's the time of flight. And when you know the speed of sound and you know the time of flight, you can figure out the distance that it's covered. So it's a distance measuring technique.
Okay.
With LiDAR, which you've seen in some autonomous cars, you do the same trick with light. You send out a pulse of light and you look forward to return. And you can get a lot of accuracy. I talked to one guy who's got a LiDAR device that measures all the way down to zero. You can put something right in front of the lens of the thing and it'll tell you zero. You can put something out 100 meters and it'll tell you very accurately what that distance is. With light, it's a little bit easier because it doesn't take a lot of time to go a long distance, but it's also a little bit harder because you have to be so fast in responding to it.
Sure.
Now, if you think back to math class or your early physics class, you may remember this formula. RT equals D. Rate times time equals distance.
Yes.
And all of these time of flight of light and time of flight of sound measurement systems are using that principle. Basically, you know the speed, you know the time, you can figure the distance.
So basically, if we're going to talk about I'm going to turn this kind of sideways for a moment. I know that a nanosecond is roughly the speed of light that travels in a nanosecond is roughly about a foot, just a little bit under a foot, if I recall correctly. That was something from Admiral Grace Walker. So 2 feet would be roughly 2 nanoseconds. And we're measuring that basically, well, actually, it's going to be 4 nanoseconds because it's got to bounce from the origination point,
right,
the 2 feet, and then bounce back the 2 feet, and there's our total of 4 nanoseconds, but you have that to get, it's a distance of 2 feet.
Yeah.
I think I butchered that.
And that's a principle. You put out a very brief pulse and use a fast photodetector to see the leading edge of its return.
Okay. Now, when we talk about, LiDAR, we sometimes think about LiDAR as being what the cops use. So what are they doing there?
LiDAR with the cops is strictly speed measuring. And if you know the distance to something and you know how fast that distance changes, you know its speed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the cops do. If you take a look at the autonomous cars, they have these pineapple cans on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And that pineapple can has layers of spinning LiDARs. And those spinning LiDARs will essentially give an outline drawing, if you will, of what's around the car. So by using that mapping, by tracking position now versus position just an instant ago, by keeping track of speed, by keeping track of direction, you've got a pretty good sense of where you are, what else is around you. And if you think about a wire where electrons flow and holes also flow, that's a semiconductor theory. Traffic is the same thing. There are places where cars are, and there are places where cars aren't, and you want to track them both.
Very cool. All right, so we've got distance, we've got speed, and you're applying something else there too.
Well, yeah, you really have the ability, if you're dealing with a distance in a known environment, of knowing whether a distance that's being measured represents something expected or something unexpected, or any of several expected states. So, for example, if I have a speed of sound, a Sedor, which is the air version of sonar, then ultrasonic pulse system on the ceiling of a garage, and I point it down, I might be 14 inches to an open garage door that's in its path. I might be 4 feet to the top of a car that's in its path. I might be 9 feet to the floor of the garage. So that whisker kind of tells me whether there's a car there, not a car there, or the garage door is open. What it won't tell me is if there's a car there when the garage door is open, because the garage door is blocking it.
Sure.
So in the 40-year house, I have a line of 5 of these things. At least 2 of them are beyond the path of travel of the garage door.
Mm-hmm.
And those 5 point down in each garage space. And then at the far wall, pointing out, is a LiDAR. And the LiDAR tells me where the car is, if there's a car there, if it's stopped, if it's still moving, important things like that.
Or if the car is blocking the path of the garage door, maybe.
It could, but at that point,
you're gonna rely on the regular old-fashioned photo cells.
Well, it's there as well. I mean,
yeah.
You know me. I never do anything once.
Very true. So
now, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say LiDAR has been not really something that is easy for the general population or even electronic hobbyists to get a hold of. Mm-hmm. LiDAR has been hundreds of dollars, and that came down from thousands of dollars. In 2016, about the least expensive LiDAR you could get was the LiDAR-1, and I believe its lowest price during the year was around $125.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there's a new LiDAR coming out in 2017 from Quanergy that's going to be no more than $100, and it's smaller, and it's actually in many ways better.
Very cool. This is all part of course, the 40-Year House. You can check it out online, 40yearhouse.com. This is Benjamin Rockwell. That's Marty Winston, and you're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment.
Hey guys, this is Benny Rockwell. Most of us use video cameras nowadays, but what about those old movie films in the back of your closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. Imagine Grandpa's old 8mm and 16mm films that are just sitting in a box getting old and fading away. Legacy Digital will clean and recondition those films, capture them digitally frame by frame, and then produce beautiful DVDs of your precious memories on long-lasting, archive-quality discs. They don't use a projector, and your films can't be damaged in the process, the best available for families like yours. The final results are gorgeous. What better way to preserve those precious memories for future generations? Call right now, mention my name, Benny Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. 1-866-253-4229. And tell them Benny sent you. Your memories are priceless. So call 866-2-LEGACY now.
The website, computertalkradio.com. computertalkradio.com. And Steve Keske joins us now. What do you have for us this week, Steve?
Well, you know how everybody is talking about computer security.
Yes. We actually talk about it a lot here.
Yeah, well, that's true. But everybody's talking about it. So we're always talking about security, and we're talking about passwords and everything else.
Yes.
PayPal has come up with a new ingenious way of storing your password.
Okay.
It's on a little pill that you swallow, and the little chip in the pill is run by the acid in your stomach.
Okay.
And it stores your password for you so that when you want to get on PayPal, it'll automatically broadcast your password for you.
I'm hoping this is RFID and not some situation where you have to, it's sitting in your stomach, you have a little bit of gastric flux, I think is the term.
Well, and my thing is this, is that if it's in your stomach, right?
Yeah.
All the contents of your stomach doesn't stay there.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was coming to mind as well.
And my other little question is, how do you change your password?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm guessing that they are probably hooking up to some RFID chip. And that's probably the concept they're dealing with. But really, I have no desire. Well, okay. For starters, I have no desire along the RFID line. The entire concept of RFID in itself is flawed. RFID was designed as a basic, very basic identification item, and it's been around for I don't want to say eons, because it's not truly literally eons, but I think it's
a long time.
The 70s. They weren't thinking of security back when they came up with RFID. All they were thinking about was a way to track simple numbers. Okay, what were the numbers that they were dealing with? We're tracking animals. Okay, so you've got 1,000 head of cattle. Okay, which one is Bessie and which one is Margie? You basically track it down like that. Or you've got all of these different things in the supermarket. You've got the milk, you've got the cereal and all of that, and they put the RFID tag on whichever one, and as it's going through, it's got a unique number, so they know how fast it's going through. They know what the expiration date is. They get a little bit more advanced notice so that they can look at you in a little bit of scans when they find out, yeah, every time Benjamin Rockwell goes to the local grocery store, he reaches to the very back of the shelf to grab the freshest cold milk, and he bypasses everything in front. Whatever kind of strange thing that they've got there. Yep. But so RFID is in itself, but I'm not going to put a chip inside of me. I just don't like the concept of it, let alone it's hackable. We haven't even implemented RFID into anything that is required on even a marginal daily basis, and it's already been hacked, provably hacked in every scenario.
I know. That's why I wanted to talk. People are going to say, "Oh, yeah, right," and I'm saying, "No, oh, no."
Yeah.
There's too many things that they haven't ironed out yet. They haven't thought this through, people. What goes in comes out. It doesn't just stay there.
Moves straight on through. Yes. You've got your password for a couple of days, and then you got to
do it all
get
over
another prescription or something.
And how do you get it in your password into the chip in the beginning? Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I don't see this as any kind of a great idea.
Every once in a while, I gotta have a subject that is so way out there and not thought through enough that it's really weird.
Yes, one of the things, of course, you deal with so many of these different topics for us, whether it's military history, disabilities, seniors, to the goofy geeky gadget corner, but some of this I really love. We should even say you are our esoteric computing expert. Maybe that would be the term. I don't know. Just the weird stuff that people come up with, because you're right. You do come up with some of the strange ones.
Well, they're really strange ones, yeah. This kind of a concept. They thought, oh, this is a great idea. Was it really a great idea? Did you really think this through?
Yeah, and this is for PayPal. You would think, okay, I don't know, PayPal, of all companies, they've got the size, they've got the money, they should be able to come up with smarter people than this. That's all I'm saying. I think it's wild. I think it's insane, and I think, well, it's going to be interesting to see if this actually comes to market, comes to fruition. This is Benjamin Rockwell. That's Steve Keske. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back with my closing comments in just a moment. Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and, well, a normal person. Recently, though, it became clear to me that it was time to upgrade. I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After looking for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their care, their willingness to do things the right way. The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when all I needed was a 1-gallon bucket. The folks at SiteGround know WordPress, Joomla, and more. SiteGround.com. S-I-T-E ground.com for your web hosting needs. SiteGround. As I move across the internet and I explore for things to talk about, sometimes I get quite surprised, and yet not so much surprised as disappointed. One of the largest names as far as bringing us news, as far as a website that talks about computers. It's named after a famous magazine, and it's a whole big thing. They have an article, and I'm presuming it's a routine, regular article. I'd never noticed this before. I don't go to this site as often as I probably might. I don't know why. I go to it once in a while, and I saw this title, The 10 Most Pirated Movies of the Week. I'm sorry, of the week? This is what's going on right now. Apparently, they keep track of this. Not only that, they make reference to a particular website where you can keep track of, here it is. It's always a good gauge of popular movies as well as the zeitgeist. 2 new DVD screeners making their rounds of Hollywood are on this week's list. Yeah, there you go. This week, Hacksaw Ridge was one of them. And that means the end of the line now for whatever, and it goes on. And, quote, if you haven't seen any of the movies on this list, parentheses, and we won't ask how, end parentheses, we'd love to hear what you think of them. Excuse me? Excuse me? These are the most pirated movies, and we want to hear from you. No! What are we doing? Where has our world gone, where one of the number one magazines out there, one of the number one websites in regards to computers and magazines, and you got the idea, where they're giving this almost full approval of violating somebody else's copyright, of violating the entire concept of going to the movie theater and paying, of waiting until it comes out on video, whether we're talking about DVD or Blu-ray or we're talking about Netflix, and just waiting. Look, I don't doubt that there are listeners that do this kind of thing. I don't doubt that there are people who think, this isn't all that bad. There are, I'm sure, people who are there listening to me right now in your chair or next to you or around you that think I'm making a big deal out of nothing. But at what point did we arrive at where we said this is nothing to steal these movies, to see a movie for free that we should be paying for? I'm flabbergasted. I cannot believe that somebody would advocate or nearly advocate the breaking of the law. So, I don't know, so just publicly. I don't know what to say. This is Benjamin Rockwell. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. We'll catch you next week.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time.